I'm running to represent the people of Medicine Hat. When the Alberta Party contacted me to be their representative here, I was very pleased to see that their values were similar to mine. They have the idea that no one political ideology holds all the good ideas. They're willing to accept ideas from across the spectrum, which is the way I operate myself. They have a plan of good fiscal prudence along with some social responsibility. We believe in supporting small business and incentivizing entrepreneurship, along with maintaining good social services such as good mental health services, healthcare, education, post-secondary, etc. My goal is to represent the party to the best of my ability. I'm concerned at this point in time that we've missed the opportunity in the last number of decades for politicians to do public service for the public good. I don't think the solution is dealing with retirement security. I think there's a feeling out there amongst government that they're spending too much on retirement security, such as pensions. I think people who are on a pension, they pay taxes, they contribute to the community, they don't take advantage of supplementary resources from government, they contribute back to the community. In terms of spending, I think the government made a huge mistake leaving regional health boards and moving to the super board. By Mr. Prentice's own admission, they've bloated the bureaucracy, they've mismanaged their funds, and they've grown the debt by $10 billion over what it was in 2004. I think that's a real issue for them. Return to local decision making. I also believe that in the field of education, they made a huge mistake back in the Klein era of moving away from local decision making for boards. We do not have the same educational system we had back then. I think boards are in a much better position to spend funds appropriately and within the needs of their community. If I'm elected, what I'd like to accomplish in my first 100 days is having a dialogue within government about spending money and initiatives on prevention and healthcare. I think we have two major issues out there we don't respond to enough. We need to return to the system of home care available to seniors prior to client cutbacks, and we need to fully fund people who are taking diabetic medications. Both of these situations occur where you have a senior who's not getting proper care entering the acute care system, and we have diabetic people who are entering the healthcare system because they've not been able to afford to maintain their medications over the long term. They end up making shortcuts because they're in a financial bind. It ends up affecting them in healthcare. They end up in hospital in crisis that they should never have been in the first place. So let's start spending some money on prevention. I know it's not sexy for government because they can't account for it immediately, but in the long term, I think that's one of the solutions to our issues with healthcare today. I'm inspired by the fact that in this election, I think we have an opportunity to return to the days of politicians like Peter Lougheed, Grant Notley, and Lawrence Decore, who entered government to do public service for the public good. I think one of the reasons why we still revere those individuals is this wasn't a career move for them. This was a good move for citizens. They believed in Albertans, they worked hard for Albertans, and there's no better evidence of the good statesmanship of Peter Lougheed than the fact that he initiated the Heritage Trust Fund. Unfortunately for Peter Lougheed, governments after that did not contribute to the fund, and it's nowhere near what it should be, but that to me was an example of long-term planning for the good of Albertans, and I'd like to see a return to that.